Okay, will you kind of bring us into this space and like help us arrive and just kind of set the space? Would you mind doing that?
For TRE, for sacred space for healing in this conversation.
Yes.
Okay. So the divine team is coming in. It's a good sized team. It's large. There are many present, mostly angelic, but not all. And they're here to witness, and they're here for support. And they're going to assist in the process. So everyone who sees this video will have witness to their process, and healing will be boosted because you and I are creating a special channel for this. So I'll just say my sacred space prayer out loud for everyone. Dear Spirit, angels of light and love, those who are polarized to positive, please make this room sacred space. And when I say my room, I mean my physical space, your physical space, and everyone's physical space who is tuned in, and the actual channels and fiber optics and airwaves and all of that is between, the digital connection and what is allowing the universe for this to come together. Please remove all darkness, remove dark energies, remove dark entities, remove dark spirits, remove dark beings, remove dark thoughts, remove dark emotions. I only want those who are on the path to positive ascension, who are in service to other selves, who honor the law of one and the God of all gods. Please close all portals and access points and seal them with gold. All lower vibrational beings and negative energies must leave now. Only allow access to those who are for the highest power for all and for my highest purpose. Thank you. So I'm also going to place clearing vortexes in each of our spaces as well. Just to this is my right hand, so just to the right side of my head, just above my ear, there is a clearing vortex opening for everyone for the duration of this call. It will close when this call ends, when this meeting ends. But as we discuss and healing takes place, any and all released energies that do occur during this conversation will be given to the clearing vortex to be recycled and repurposed for good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really felt the energy of, or the awareness of how conversations like this, even though we're just passing on information about this modality that we're going to talk about, how healing just this conversation is. They tap into this space and connect in with this video. They are receiving healing. I am the light of healing. I represent and just am the essence of healing energy for myself and as a healer for other people. And so are you. And it is it's such a quantum healing energy.
It really is.
Space, in this conversation, through our voices, through our awareness, through our energetic experience and resonance, because we have been and done the work ourselves to heal the things that we are passing on the knowledge of to other people. So even just this conversation, they are going to receive healing from just being here and being present in this space. So
yes, absolutely.
So thank you for setting that intention. That just came to my mind first after you said that, and I'm so grateful for you to be here holding that quantum space for us too. Really like representing in your life.
And thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for asking to do this.
Yeah, definitely. We've been leading up to this for a while. So
yes.
Thank you for being here. This is my friend Lisa Karasek. She is a quantum healer and many, many, many other things. But what I really want to focus on is the practitioner of TRE, which is trauma release exercises. And I've talked about this before on my channel, and what an important part of my journey it was in order to, within the mind, body, and spirit connection, bring myself back into my human body and free certain things from my body space, and reassociate with my body after, so much time of disassociating from my body through traumas and because of trauma energy. I have no idea how I came across it or why I was led to it, or I just allowed myself to be guided to it. I knew nothing about it really ahead of time, except that it just resonated so deeply with me needing to get in touch with my body and looking for the next level of a release of trauma energy. I want to be able to provide and give people the tool in their spiritual toolbox to take themselves to the next level. Meditation does that. And at some point, we need the next level of meditation. We need to get to the next level of energy release. And so we need to add another modality in there, experiment, or we kind of get to this plateau and we need another tool in there. And I've explored so many different things, so many different modalities and breath work and, certain types of exercise and yoga and all kinds of things. And this was one of the things that has been coming back into my realm and into my awareness in the last couple of weeks. It was a game changer for me on my journey. And
me too.
It helped
if I recall, the very first time I met you, the very first time you came to my class, you said you were home that day and you were involved in other things, and something split second had you look at something and you saw my class and you just literally dropped everything and went out your door and drove to the studio where I was teaching class that day. And you walked in why am I here?
Yeah, I totally remember that now. I totally remember that. And then I was worried about being late. It was a very split second decision. It was I either have to decide now or not do it at all. And I was so called to it. I was just all right, I'm just going to book it and then go. Really quickly. Yeah, I remember that. Oh gosh, that's funny. Yeah, it was totally divinely guided, and I knew it as soon as I got in there why it was. And I had been working on releasing some trauma in my life, and it was sexual trauma that I had been through, and coming to the realization of it, and seeing it was there. I didn't know that it was there. And I was trying to get to it with meditation. I was doing breath work sessions with a breath worker or two at the same time, and unveiling and releasing it from here and trying to come to terms with it. And after I was guided to this, it makes so much sense why I needed and how to release it from my body too. So that day, it was definitely a big release. It was a way to access the energy of that in a different way than I had before, a different dimension. And I was using, this physical dimension.
Exactly.
This 3D, allowing the human side of us to kick in to help release the energy too. So
exactly.
So I wanted to share it with people. It's super, super, super important, especially right now. If you're watching this, it's because you're ready for the next level, because this is going to be the next level in your evolution, and it's a gateway. It's a gateway for people.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, so TRE, trauma release exercises. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about what that is and what its function is and how it works?
Sure. So TRE is an acronym. It stands for tension or trauma releasing exercises. Dr. David Berceli, who is the founder, he originally used the term trauma releasing exercises because he was a trauma expert. He was, in the psychological realm. He was as a psychology person, he was working with victims. But he saw such profound, results, profound examples, not the right word, whatever, but he wanted to take it to the world. He wanted to make sure that everybody had access to this. And so he started to develop this technique.
That's how I feel.
I do too. I totally feel that way. I think everybody needs it. Everybody, whether they realize it or not. But he learned that trauma was a little bit of a turnoff for some people. It can be a scary word for some people. And so he changed it to, so even though it's only one T, we refer to it as tension or tension and trauma releasing exercises.
Okay, that makes
so
sense.
Depending upon who my audience is, I will use one or the other usually.
Yeah.
All of my marketing and whatnot, I always just go with tension because I think it's easier for people.
Yeah.
The one thing that I have come to realize is that we all have our own definition of trauma. And, there's a reason, so I let people decide for themselves how they want to identify with it or define it.
Right.
And that way they have the choice.
Yeah. Sometimes
it needs to be on your comfort level.
Yeah. I think they associate it with something major, something big, something just life altering and life changing.
Exactly.
And trauma can affect you in little tiny ways all the time. If somebody jumps out and scares you and startles you, your body goes into that reflex, and you have just stored. It's a trauma. It's not really a trauma the way other people would describe it, but even stubbing your toe, and so you build up.
You stole my example.
You build up all of these little tiny bits of the trauma response in your body. It's not a, mind-altering trauma, but you build up the energy of that reaction that your body innately goes into.
Right. And I had the same thing happen when I was student teaching TRE, and I was learning my language, finding my language, first beginning to learn how to explain to people what I was, studying and getting into, why I was getting certified in it, whatnot. I came to the same response. People would be like, "Oh, I've never had anything big happen to me. I've been lucky, and I'm like, well, that's great. I'm, good for you for not having, experienced anything." But I realized, especially with women, most women, a lot of people assumed, like victims of like rape or abuse, or, that TRE was reserved for victims.
Yeah.
But you used my example. What I came up with the example of the stubbed toe to explain to people that, trauma comes in many forms. So the example, like you said, being startled, and I always use the example, that same reflex, that same impulse that gets us to lock up, that response, getting cut off in traffic, that makes us do the same thing. But stubbing your toe is trauma because it's physical trauma. You stub it, you feel pain, and it swells. So the tissue is altered. I said that right.
Yeah.
The tissue is altered. And then every time you take a step, you feel it. The messages go to your brain, you're receiving the constant message that there's pain. And every time you have to put on a sock or put on a shoe and take a step for a couple of days. So it's that repeated trauma. And it, in time, even if it's only 5 minutes or if it takes a full day, it becomes emotional trauma because then you're thinking about it constantly.
Yeah.
So everything from a stubbed toe to a rape and everything in between is trauma in some form or another.
Yeah.
And even, just like I always give the example too, like post-surgery, the tissue gets all jacked up, torn, cut, severed, your body has a hole in it. They stick things in there and move things around, and you have this wound and stitches, and that's trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not just emotional trauma, it's physical trauma.
Yeah.
And anything and everything in between.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's stored in a physical way and in an energetic way throughout your field.
Right.
It's stored up. I'm seeing the reference of like plaque on your teeth. It will be just
a really good example
to begin with. But if you don't brush your teeth and if you don't maintain it, if you don't clear it out of there, it's going to build up and it's going to build up and it's going to build up. And then it's going to start causing real problems underneath of everything. And it's going to start cavities. And if you don't come in and brush your teeth and remove that plaque and floss and maintain it, it's going to cause bigger problems, underlying problems,
heart attacks, even.
Yeah,
that's a great example. I'm gonna have to steal that.
Okay. I'm just seeing it right now. It's all energy maintenance too. So we're just maintaining that energy, and we're doing it through our physical body, not only because of physical traumas, but because of emotional traumas. And all of those, it's all energy and vibration. So they're all vibrational traumas and vibrational imbalances that get stored in your physical body.
Yes. And another reason, I agree with you, but I like to also play skeptic, or whatever you want to call this. But so you're using the example of, vibrational energy. It is that. I agree with you 100%. And in addition to, the other example that I always tell people is, it's moments of intense energy. So it's not all the bad stuff. It's the good stuff too. Think about your first kiss. Think about the birth of your baby. Think about your wedding day. Think about the death of a loved one. Think about your first job interview. Think about your first day of school. So it's not just the bad stuff. It's not just trauma in a negative way. It's tension. And tension comes from, even though your wedding day is great, it's still a little bit of stressful. And that's the building up of the plaque on the teeth. By the end of the day, you got to let it go. Even though it was a celebration, you've been riding high. You're on adrenaline. That energy is intense, and it needs to get released. So it's not just the bad stuff. It's the good stuff too.
I love that. I really, really love that. And I love the idea and the awareness of needing to release that heightened state in order to come back into stasis again. And staying in that heightened space is not what our human bodies are supposed to do. And so that makes so much sense. And I'm so glad that you're saying that, because I was talking to you a little bit about it ahead of time, and I actually did a shake yesterday. And just before we came on here, I went to go get something to eat, and I sat down, and I had just had a session with a client, and it was very high vibration, and I was channeling a lot of stuff, and it was very powerful. And when I'm in that state, it is really just this heightened energetic state like you're talking about. And I sat down to go and eat and kind of ground myself and come back to center. And I started shaking. And I was like, where was the energetic trauma in that? Did it activate something in me, some kind of remembrance? Because she was talking about some heavy things, but I felt so good about the whole thing. And I was thinking, maybe it's because I was feeling good and I'm so glad that you said that, because it makes so much sense. That literally just happened.
Good.
So much sense. Good. And why, not only like healing comes at all times, not only when we are feeling down or feeling heavy. Energy maintenance is important all the time, no matter what. Making this a part of our regular routine, and just like meditation, just like prayer, just like journaling, whatever it is, in your repertoire that you need. It needs to be maintained, and is a healthier way of being, a more balanced way of being, because you actually get ahead of those heavy energies, and you approach them with a surplus of, balanced energy instead of coming from a depleted place. It's easier to heal and come out of that.
Right. Exactly. And once you learn TRE, your body never forgets. And so even if you only do it once in your life, the next time you're in a situation, I always use the example. I was one time in a grocery store, and my story is one of domestic abuse. And even though I wasn't in that relationship anymore, fast forward a couple of years, but it was a couple of years ago from now, I remember I was in a grocery store, and about 2 or 3 people behind me in line, there was a couple, and he was a real jerk. He started just being loud. He wanted the whole store to know that he was an ass, and he started calling her all kinds of names. It wasn't really like he was punching on her physically, but he was punching on her. His words were aggressive. He was bullying her and making a complete show in the middle of the grocery store there. And I got triggered, standing there waiting to pay for my groceries. I didn't have so much that I needed a cart, and I don't even think I had a basket. I think I just had like 3 or 4 items in my hand. So I was literally just standing there. And I was triggered emotionally, but because I know TRE, I was standing there in real time, and I started to shake. So by the time I finished paying for my groceries and was walking out to my car, I had already released that trigger from that couple. And so it can be a preventative medicine in that regard, for sure.
Yeah. Because this is an innate response. Our bodies already know how to do it. Our bodies, you just like on a basic physiological level, on a human level, our bodies already know how to do this. It is a natural balancing mechanism to release that stored trauma energy. Animals do it because they have not been conditioned as humans have to not go into this response. We have put the kibosh on making it appear like we're losing control. And
we were trained, we were taught, we were raised to shut down. In our society, in our culture, we're told, don't show your emotions, especially not in public. Don't do that, you look stupid. Don't do that, especially as women. Shut up. Shut down.
Don't cry, it's okay, don't cry.
Shut down. We hold it in, so we learn to shut it down. We're raised to shut it down.
Keep it together. Be stable in front of others. Don't lose.
Be stoic.
Cool.
It's So what TRE does is it gives you that safe space, your literal and metaphysical safe space, whether it be your physical space on the mat in class or your headspace. It's a safe space for you to let your body know, this is okay. I can do this. And once your body learns, it knows it.
It remembers, really.
Just like everything else.
So what it is a physical response to that stored trauma energy, and it brings your body goes into a state of shaking. And I always tell people, like, you've always seen, a lot of people have seen these, like a little dog laying there after he got scared or after he was stressed or got attacked or got yelled at or something like that. And he's just sitting there shaking like this, like he's scared or he's cold, something like that. But it's this like shaking, letting go.
Or shaking, on those good days, like your wedding day, your first job interview, your first kiss. Did you ever, did you look at the person next to you and go, oh my gosh, look at me, I'm so nervous, I'm shaking. Your first time stepping on stage, your nerves, you're shaking. It's that's what TRE does. We learn how to bring that back in a comfortable and safe way. We were taught that was bad. So that's what we learned how to shut down. And what TRE does is it creates that safe space, that safe and sacred space, so that we know, we let our bodies know that is really okay to do. And it's that shaking that brings us back to a nervous stasis, homeostasis. Exactly. So it's working with your connective tissue, your nervous system, and your muscular system.
Yes. And your body just does it. Your body knows how to do it. And for me, psychologically, it's about releasing control and releasing the mind control that I have over top of everything else, and really surrendering to the power of my own body to balance itself. That is the essence of energy healing. Your body is this vessel for healing its own energy. It has the ability to do that, and it always is constantly wanting so bad to come back into stasis again.
It's the ultimate or the epitome of. Yes.
And bringing in this physical component when it comes to wellness, when it comes to mind, body, and spirit balance, this is such an amazing way to bring in the physical component of that balance. It's so essentially it's a series of exercises that fatigue your muscles in a specific way in order to activate the remembrance of your body to shake. And when you release control, the more you give your body permission to be in that state, and the more it will just kind of naturally go into that on a regular basis from there.
Right. Karen, you will be able to tell everyone, I tell people all the time, in my class, I don't want anyone being mindful. You're not allowed to be in awareness. I don't want you thinking. I want you totally distracted.
I just got chills.
I want you out of your head.
Oh, it's so nice to be there.
The more you think about it, the less your body can release.
Yes.
Because once you let the brain turn on, then your body shuts down.
Yes.
So it's relinquishing full control over to the body. So type A's have a hard time, but I can get them there. Don't worry. But the athletes understand it because they're used to bringing their body to a specific response. And that's exactly what I do. I invoke my goal as facilitator at the head of the class is to invoke this very specific response in your physical body.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the only way to achieve that is to get you out of your head. So
Yeah.
we talk, we tell jokes, we tell stories, we bond, we
breathe,
we laugh, we breathe, anything but thinking about what we're doing.
Yeah. That's interesting that you say that. And I didn't realize that you're specifically doing that, but there was conversation around the room, and it was not distracting, but it was definitely a way to focus on something, to not focus.
Exactly.
I was trying to focus on
the body shuts down. Right. Yeah. And when you do that, it won't happen.
Yeah. Yes, that makes so much sense. I'm so glad
because your ego tries to protect, and it's the ego that's been trained to shut that mechanism down.
Yeah. It's really just relinquishing control and just allowing yourself to be human and have that be enough, because it is enough.
It's a gray area of embrace.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. So I have a couple of questions here that I wanted to just explain to people a little bit about what is a shake exactly, and what can they expect during this process.
So when you say shake, do you mean like the class or
the class? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely what I call it. So
you call it shake?
Yeah. We're going to go shake now.
Me too.
Let's go to shake.
I have to go shake.
Yeah.
People are like,
exactly.
Yeah. Or I have to do a shake. I have to go and do a shake because I have to facilitate my body doing that. Eventually, it really just is I was shaking because there is no control within there. I don't have to facilitate it. But the process of this class is what helps us to get there. So.
Right. So it doesn't matter if it's your first class or your 500th class, your 20th class, whatever. Every single class with me, or every single shake, is the same sequence. We never go out of order. Yeah. It's designed to intentionally get you to, for you to invoke that response in your body. Yeah. So you can bypass some of them if you've been at it long enough.
Yeah.
But if you're in class, we're going to do the whole sequence. So it's a series of, depending upon how you count, some people say 6, some people say 7, because the first one we do together as a group, and then the rest you do individually on your mats. Yeah. But so some people say 6, some people say 7, whatever, tomato, whatever. But it's a sequence where they build on top of each other. So the first 3 are fatiguing exercises. They're designed to fatigue specific muscle groups. Yeah. And then we get into stretching specific muscle groups, primarily the psoas muscle, which is what most people refer to as the core muscle, your core muscle. It's the center of your body. It starts at the hips, wraps up around under the breastbone, and then around your back. So it's your center, it's your core, and it's the largest muscle in your body, and it's where the shake comes from. So we want to give it a good stretch. We really want to work it. Yeah. So we do the same sequence every single class. And the first, let's go with the number 6. So the first 5 of the 6, we move through pretty quickly. They're designed to be kind of like in and out, that we're getting the body primed and ready. And then the last one, the 6th one, you're lying on the floor, shaking, releasing.
Yeah.
But that's the best one because you get to lay down, but you're laying there for like a half hour.
Yeah.
So it's the longest one and it's the most important one, but it's the most comfortable one because you get to lay down.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to point out also, before you go just further, I wanted to point out that these exercises, it may turn some people off because they're like, I fucking hate exercising and I don't want to do that.
Right.
And that was initially for me when I was just like, oh, I don't want to go and like exercise. And like, I thought this was healing. So it's not
writing is an exercise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Writing is an exercise.
Yeah.
Coloring
It's
is an
really just,
exercise. Picking out wallpaper is an exercise.
yeah. Yeah. And for me, it just feels like all of them feel like stretches. The very first couple ones is you're just, it's like you're doing a calf stretch. You're doing a small calf exercise, and then you're doing a quad exercise for like, not even a minute, 2 minutes, something like
Right.
that. And
Exactly.
not high impact. It's not like some
Right.
kind of exercise routine that you have to do.
It's not, I let everyone know it's not fitness. My goal is not to raise your heart rate or make you sweat.
Right.
In fact,
Right.
that's totally counterintuitive to everything that I'm trying to do with you.
Yeah.
So it's the exact opposite of exercise.
And then you get to lay down and relax and just let your body do the work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you want me to add on to that, or?
Well, you were talking, so at the very end, when we lay down to shake, how long does it usually last? The first couple of times that you do it, how long are you laying there shaking?
If I'm in studio and we're in a class with a group of people, then I usually cut it off at like the 40-minute mark.
Okay.
Just because I usually have the room for either like an hour or 90 minutes.
Okay.
And so it depending upon how many they're always drop-in classes. So it depends on how many new people are there, how much more talk I have to give, how much more in demonstration I have to provide. If I get a bunch of people who are in there and they've had my class before and we can just kind of go, then it goes much faster and they get more time on the floor. But usually, in studios, it's time. So I have to get out of there, at the top of the hour or whatever. But if I'm in the house with you and a group of your girlfriends and it's like a Friday night thing and we're doing like a wine and shake.
Oh, I love that.
Which is a lot of fun. I do those. They're really fun. Then we're just laying there and having like a girls' night, and we're going as long as we feel like it, however long it takes. And some people naturally will shake for, an average of half hour is pretty average.
Yeah.
Some people shake a little longer. I've definitely had people shake for like an hour.
Yeah.
And some people just naturally stop after like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Especially if they're new, because it's like the body is kind of like,
There's too much resistance right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
But I've had times where I've had like a bad day and I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to do my TRE tonight before I go to bed because I got to get rid of this day.
Brushing your teeth.
I find out that, I get down and I do the part and I wind up only shaking for like 10 minutes. And then I'm like, well, I guess it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Okay, yeah, I'm done.
Right. Right.
It's maintenance.
Or it's like such a saturated shake because you released so much and allowed so much that your body was able to shake it out in a quicker amount of time instead of fighting against the resistance of you letting go and only shaking a little bit at a time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the kind of example where like size doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. It just because you shake 5 minutes or 20 minutes, it doesn't mean you're having less release or more release. It's not fair to compare like that.
Okay.
So don't compare yourself to everyone else in the room. Your experience is yours. It's not theirs.
Yeah.
So,
and your journey and the experience of your life is so much different than everybody else's too. You just may have less stored trauma or your body may be more efficient at doing it or whatever it is. It's just,
well, like, only what's ready to be healed that day is what's going to get healed.
That makes sense.
Only what you're ready for. It's not about having more or less. It's about whatever's ready.
What are you ready to let go of?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Because it's not just this lifetime, as you mentioned, quantum, so interdimensional, multiple timelines, multiple lifetimes, multiple dimensions. I see all that. I see what my students are releasing in my third eye. I see in the different realms what they're releasing. And it's not just from this lifetime. Yeah. And so to say we don't have as much is a falsehood, because how many lives have we lived?
Yeah,
you're carrying all of that into this lifetime too. So you're not just releasing what's happening to you now.
Yeah.
You're healing a whole line of patterns and programs. And I mean, it just goes back eons and centuries and
makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's whatever is ready to be healed that day.
Good.
If it was triggered or not, if it was, if you're working on something, you know,
Right.
like releasing a program or restoring, rewiring, redoing a program or a timeline, then that one might, you know, sometimes when I'm in an energy healing session, sometimes with some people, I can get the energy healing done in like 5-10 minutes. Other people, I've been there for 90 minutes and oh my God, we're still working,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. There's so many like multi-dimensional layers of it.
yeah, and we don't know what they are until it
Yeah.
happens.
That's why I love this as a modality that you just put it into your practice. You just do it all the time. This is not a one and done. This is something that you can add to your practice and have it be on a consistent level, because you're adding in new trauma energy as you go throughout your life, but you're also peeling away layers of the energies that was already there in the first place. And so it's just this constant brushing of your teeth. You're constantly like eating more food. You're constantly processing more and more energy too. And so, you need it for that. And you need to clear out the stuff that was, we're outside of time anyway. So, whatever kind of trauma or heightened energetic experience we're going through tomorrow, we have also already been through that and picked up the energy signature of that anyway. So.
And sometimes the ancestral energy too.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not just healing our own, we're healing others.
Yeah. That's definitely like witness energy. When you witness someone else's trauma or someone else's heightened energy response, or like as a mother trying to help balance the energy of my kids and guide them and steer them, I am a witness to a lot of the things that they're going through. And sometimes their experience is a trauma for me because it hurts me so much to feel, because I feel it.
If it's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
And if it's happening in this lifetime, then it's a repeated pattern that's ready to be healed from somewhere else. Yeah. So it could be grandma's, from coming over from Europe into the US, coming over on the ship, whatever she endured on her travels to get here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I see that coming through sometimes too, while my students are shaking on the floor. Like I've had people come in and give me messages for them. So I know that, Sally might be laying there shaking and she's thinking she's letting go of her work day, where, grandma's telling me, whispering in my ear, like, tell her that, I didn't mean to change the family dynamic because I came over alone and had to leave my family back in Italy, and Sally may, her grandma might have died when she was 5 and didn't even know her and didn't realize that she was carrying grandma's trauma with her. For her.
Yeah. And the awareness of it can release so much of the energy too.
Yeah. So it's definitely not a one and done thing. I've had people say to me like, oh, good. So I need to let go of the job I just quit, but I'm starting my new job like in 2 weeks. So I just want to get all this out of my system so that I'm going into my new job with a fresh, clean head. And I'm like, oh, you're in for a treat. Okay. If you think that's how this is going to work. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Yeah. Make sure you maintain it again after that too. Well, that takes me to my next question too. I was going to ask you what it is that you do during the sessions. What is it that you do during the classes? Your role, not just overseeing everybody and trying to like help them to release or distract them. Energetically, what is it that you're doing?
Energetically, okay. I was going to say I'll answer both. So as a facilitator, I am there to make sure that everyone is having a emotionally comfortable and physically comfortable experience, that they're not pushing themselves to a limit, that they're not actually getting triggered during the shake, and that they're creating that safe space for their body to learn the modality. Because some people hold and don't let themselves shake. And I do what I need to do to get them to get out of their head and let go and allow their body to shake. And then once they start shaking, they're like, oh, this is wild. And then I have to be there with them until they get over that like wow factor. And then they get the hang of it. Like training wheel, learning how to ride a bike with training wheels. Like I have to, teach you the modality as well. And then energetically what I'm doing. So some of the classes, when when you come to a studio class with me, sometimes I'm just doing a regular class. It's just the shake and that's it. And then there are other times when I reserve classes for an additional energy healing session. So I have not only am I holding the sacred space and facilitating the physical shake, what I was taught in my certification, but then as a healer, I'm going around the room and I'm applying energy healing, and I'm helping to find blocks that are having trouble coming through energetically, and I help to push them along. Some stuff I'm clearing for people because I can do that. Like I said, sometimes I get ancestors who come in and give messages. Sometimes I get intuitive hits. Like, I'll never forget one time I asked someone, I was like, I'm getting like, and I said a name, I don't know, let's say it was Debbie or something. And I was like, who's Debbie? There's Debbie. Debbie's here. And she was like, well, that's my therapist right now. And I was like, oh, okay. But what I learned was Debbie's higher self was coming in to speak to my student because my student was releasing sexual trauma, and she was in session with Debbie over healing her abusive relationship, talk therapy. So she was releasing the physical, she was doing the emotional work with Debbie and the physical releasing with me. And Debbie's higher self came in and we kind of worked with her together. Like, so a lot of times I'm doing like chakra rebalancing, chakra clearing for people. All kinds of stuff comes through. I don't know. Everybody's different. I definitely do tend to find a theme. Sometimes in a room, it'll be like all heart chakra work or all root chakra work.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are themes like that, but not always.
Yeah. The vibration of that need brings them all to the same space for the same thing, because they all got it going on. Yeah.
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 You understand that. You do classes like that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's always this collective energy between them. They all came to that space within that for that reason, because of the resonance of whatever issue that is. They were all drawn in. They've also put out the desire to want to release that and to heal that. And so that healing desire has brought them together too, and into that space too. The collective energy of all of them releasing it at the same time is a very powerful thing too, and helps for them to feel supported in the resonance of that, to let go as others around them let go at the same time too.
And then it winds up, going out into the universe. It's when you can clear a collective, even if it's a small group, it's a collective, it winds up clearing the bigger collective as well. It trickles out, the ripple effect. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to point out too, that oftentimes in the middle of these sessions, there are emotional releases. When you get your mind out of the way, sometimes your mind is what holds back the depth of the release of emotions. And when you move your mind out of the way and you allow yourself to surrender, there ends up being an emotional release of energy that was stuck there, that needs to be cleansed in that way. I'm pretty sure that first time I was just sobbing, and Kuan Yin showed up, and it was this release that I needed, because I was mourning something. I was mourning the energy this trauma that I didn't realize was even there, and coming to terms with it, and needed that release.
Right. And another good example, I'll give this one last one. Sometimes like somebody will say like only my left leg is shaking or something, or like only one side of my body is shaking. Why is it and it's not always even. Like I said, everybody's experience is different, and every shake is different. Every time you get on the mat, it's a totally different experience. It's never the same. Even though we're doing the same sequence, what happens in the shake for you is never the same, because once you've released something, it's gone. And so the next time you find something else to release. But sometimes like people will say like, only my one leg is shaking, or why does my right arm feel different during the shake or whatever? And I can like tune in, and I see like, I've pulled like swords out of people, and I pulled a harpoon out of a woman one time. So I'm seeing like how people have been like tragically died in past lives. And that physical pain is carried. And I've had people get up and walk out of class and be like, my physical pain is gone for the first time in my life. And it's because we were able to pull that memory, that debris, that energetic debris from 600 years ago that got released today.
That's so amazing.
Those are my favorites. I'll be honest. That always blows my mind when I can pull weaponry out of people, or bullets or shrapnel or.
Yeah. The energetic signature is still there. And
the imprint.
Yeah. I was that reminds me so I did a shake yesterday for the first time in a long time. And usually it's some kind of emotional release, there's some kind of emotion that I've been holding back, but I've gotten to the stage where it's a different kind of emotion that I'm releasing. And it was a very angry shake. There was a release of a lot of anger. I may have yelled at one point, and I may have banged the floor or something. It was definitely, I've never had one where that kind of stuff came out. And I was thinking, for a second, is this normal? But I just felt the urge. It was just this pent up, this kind of I just needed to get it out. And I it was a very aggressive shake, and it didn't hurt. I wasn't uncomfortable at all. It felt so good to finally get it out in that way.
Right.
And
and you have done whatever you want to call it, shakes with me in person, in class. We've done both private and group classes together.
Yeah, I've done
so you've worked with me enough that you can do it on your own at home. But I do. So going back to your question, what am I doing when I'm facilitating, when I'm standing at the front of the room? So yes, I have people come in who it's their first, maybe second class only. And, you're still learning, your body's still learning something new. Yeah. And I have people who, and that's what I'm looking for too. I have to be able to look around the room and find that student. I know that I want to see the facial expressions she's making. And I might walk over to her and say, go ahead and scream, where she was thinking she didn't want to let out a scream because she was in a group and in a quiet yoga studio and you can't scream and it's supposed to be quiet time. Yeah. And I'll walk over to her and I'll say, no, let it out.
Yeah.
And so I will encourage her to, while she's shaking, scream. And it really takes that shake to another level. And then her body's like, oh, I get it now. Yeah. Okay, this is what we're supposed to do. Yeah. And so that's another form of facilitation. I have to be aware of where my students need guidance.
Yeah.
In that regard too.
Yeah. So and I've done a bunch of them. And so let's talk about the online platform. I've been wanting to, and I've asked you a couple of times if you're able to do it online, and I understand the benefit and the need for it to be in person, for you to be able to go around and to, be next to them physically in order to facilitate and to be able to monitor what's going on and all of that. But now it's almost required that it's one of the only ways that we can do it now is to do it online.
I haven't taught a group class in person since March.
Yeah.
Well, I have, that's in a studio. I have been going to, during COVID time, I have been going to private homes and doing family shakes and friend night shakes and things like that. But that's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's meant for a reason, and it is meant to get it out to a wider audience. I have wanted to spread it out to so many people, but so many of my people and the people who follow my channel and everything, they're all over the world. And there's not that many TRE practitioners. It's so hard to find a TRE practitioner in your specific area. And I've wanted so bad to pass this on, get the modality out to other people. So I feel like this is the perfect time to be doing this. And so the online experience, we're going to keep it to a smaller group. I'm going to host, I'm going to go over at the end too, like the dates and the times and stuff like that. But we're going to hold a Zoom session with a certain number of people in order for you to be able to monitor them. And
so depending upon how many want to join, we'll probably have to have more than one.
Yeah.
But we were talking about it ahead of time. So I'll talk everyone through but I'm going to need to be more observant and looking into the screen and watching everyone.
Yeah.
So we need to know how many like squares fit on the monitor, and it'll have to be limited to that. But we agreed that you would do the demonstration, quote unquote, since you're familiar.
Yeah, she's gonna come to my house, and she's actually we're gonna be showing you guys how to do it and show you what it looks like here on the floor too at the same time, and then just use me as the example for that.
Have you do it, which is what I do in class anyway. I demonstrate, and then I have the students do it, and then I demonstrate the next one, and then I have them do it, and I demonstrate the next one, and then so it's not going to be any different.
Right.
But I need to be able to still facilitate.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes. But also rest assured that the effect, when we're dealing with energy, we're dealing with quantum energy, and the what you're supported by right now is outside of space and time. So the effect that you're getting in an online way is going to be just as beneficial for you as if it were in person. So, yeah.
If anything, the distant energy work tends to be a little more intense because you need to tune in more. It's almost like you need to make that channel between us even more tight.
Yeah.
So I actually tend to be more tuned in energetically distance than I am in person anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because when you're in person, like it can be in the room, commingling and, kind of floating there. I mean, I can net it and rein it in, but when I'm doing energy work distantly with someone, it needs to be hyper focused. So it's a very telescopic view for me, and I really channel that energy. I am connected.
Yeah.
So all of those benefits we were talking about as far as the energy healing part. Yeah. And even just, the release part, I'll be super tuned in.
Yeah. Okay. So I've part of the reason that it's important to be doing this now is that there's so much in the root chakra that is needing to be cleared collectively. This collective fear has become, it's just this buildup and that buildup and that buildup. There's so much plaque in our root chakras right now because of just fear and infused fear and more fear and instability and our world being changed and our everyday lives being changed. And it's been this buildup of this instability, and it's in the root chakra. And we're getting to the root cause of this instability and feeling unsafe. And the root cause of feeling unsafe is typically trauma experience and the remembrance of trauma. And it's almost like you're bracing yourself for impact. Anytime you have this fear response triggered, you're bracing for impact. It activates that trauma to try to protect yourself. And so we're teaching our bodies to be able to release that in the root. And the root cause of fear and instability right now is trauma response.
Yeah.
So,
because we're all coming into our own, who we are meant to be authentically. And that's, yes. That's it.
And one of the biggest things that holds us back from being ourselves is fear.
Right.
It's fear and not feeling safe in being ourselves.
And from all the trauma we've been through, being shot. We were brutal to each other back in the day, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, 1200 years ago. We execute each other in battle, and there were no rules. We were awful to each other. I've seen some horrific deaths.
And if you were true to yourself and you were an energy healer and you were true to yourself and authentic to your gifts and allowing your gifts to shine, you were attacked and ridiculed and burned and
how many wars have we had around the world?
Because other people feared you.
Yeah. So internal wars, personal wars, global wars. We've all been in battle. We're all warriors.
Yeah.
And it's all being stored.
Yeah. And it's
all of that energy from all of those. Yep. It's all stored in our bodies right now. And it's not just about releasing what's here and now, but it's about releasing all of the cellular memory. Interdimensionally. Yeah. Perfect. So excited about it. I'm so excited to facilitate it for other people. So we are going to do a group session this Friday. Do you know what the date is for Friday? I forgot to pull that up. No, I'd have to walk across the room and look.
That's okay. I've got it right here. The 29th. Okay. So again, you and I were talking in the beginning. It's before I started recording and stuff, but we're talking about this time period right now. If you're watching this back later, there's still some sort of balancing that's happening within your life, but we're in this time period in this January phase of these days, which are numerically palindrome days. So they're the same date forwards as they are backwards. And the energy that is coming into alignment and being presented to you is the ability to bring yourself into stasis, to bring yourself into balance. And anything that's there that gets in the way of you coming into balance is being activated in your field to be released. So what is it that you're able to be? You said earlier, like whatever you're ready to release, whatever you're ready to heal and surrender to and release is coming up for release right now. And it is big things that have kept you out of balance your entire life. So it's a really important time for us to be doing this, and it's the perfect time for us to be facilitating this. If you are looking for the next level in your ascension and have gotten to a point where I'm doing all of my work, I'm doing the things that I need to be doing, and there's something still blocking me. There's something always blocking me. I just need to push past it. And why am I so afraid to let go? Why am I so afraid to let go? There's a situation that has come up in your lives that you are needing to let go of in order to make space for very big things coming in. And this is the opportunity for you to do that, to find your stasis. So challenge yourself and lean in and take advantage of this opportunity. And
yeah, I was going to say, you definitely, I don't know if you saw it, you activated me. I do hand gestures. It's sort of, so while you were speaking, I just wrote the code for the program that we're going to do on the day of the session.
I love it. And I had written down earlier too, a focused intention to release control mechanisms from the root in order for us to surrender to all that is. We are exactly where we need to be right now, and everything happens for a reason. Everything is always working out for us, even if it seems that it is not what I want, something that I need to let go of that is so hard to let go of, and it causes fear to let go of because the unknown, because what's beyond that is not clear. And so we hold on to everything that we've known. We hold on to what we know because that's where stability is, because the knowing feels stable. But it's what's holding us back. There's so much that is infused in there that is holding us back. And we can feel it. We can feel those blockages, and we want more than anything to let go. But letting this person out of my life seems really scary. And
I just wrote the program for that. We're going to do it. It's going to happen.
Okay.
I have, it's written.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Friday, January 29th, we are doing 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm going to put all the information in the box below. You can go over and click on the link for it. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we also scheduled one for Wednesday, February 3rd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we set it up for everybody that's on UK time and in Europe. So if it's UK time, it's going to be 6 p.m. your time. All of the details for that, again, are going to be on that link for the event. And so we set up 2 different days for everyone to take advantage of it. And if you have any more questions beyond that, you can contact me. You can send me an email or a message, and I'll put Lisa's information down in the box below too. She's a quantum healer too. So if you resonate with her energy and all of the things that she's talking about, make sure that you go over there and check out all her other services that she does too, and take advantage of, who she is as a quantum healer, and allow yourself to be guided, allow yourself to be led. Even if you don't do one of these TRE sessions, it may be that you're guided to her for the healing that's being facilitated through this and in your future occurrences with her. So.
Right. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah. Can you think of anything else? It feels really good. I feel like we kind of.
Yeah. Did you get through your list of questions? I know you had like 4. I feel like you only asked 3.
I think so. One of the ones that I was going to ask you is, what can they expect to experience afterwards?
I knew there was another one.
Yeah.
So afterward, people report back, and I can also say from personal experience, you tend to be very relaxed. So
Oh yeah.
I prefer TRE at night. In fact, I do it right before bed because I get a really good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Some people though get energized and they want me to come to like their home, or there are some places that I do classes in the mornings, because some people after TRE get really energized. They get up and they're like, I'm ready to go run a marathon. I can take on the world right now. So some people really get a lot out of it. So releasing clears your energy and makes you more productive.
Yeah.
It makes me tired. When I do TRE early in the day, I'm shot for the rest of the day. When I release, I'm practically in reverse. I'm like, whatever, you can do whatever you want to me. But yeah, so I'm ready for bed when I do it.
Yeah.
But I encourage people to find what works for them, find your time of day. So, but ultimately it's going to relax you. It's either going to clear your energy and get you going, or it's going to relax you. It's going to clear you and relax you.
Yeah.
And it relaxes you because what happens then is you've released a lot of etherical energy, if you will, and your physical body needs the time to catch up to the shift. So that's what's going on when it makes you tired.
Yeah.
And this is a funny one. Don't laugh, but because it's relaxing you, that means it's relaxing your system. So all of your body systems. So a lot of people report really good bowel movements afterward. Really good digestion happens. It's a day to eat really good meals and, really get your body healthy, eat all those greens, and digestion and assimilation just, gets maximized. Your body is like in super healthy mode, and it's like craving all the good stuff.
Yeah.
And then, the other physical stuff like, calmer breathing, calmer heart rate, calmer pulse, calmer, more focused, more clarity. I work with kids a lot, after school programs, high school students. I can take kids from D students to A students because they get super focused. Yeah. It's really good for ADD, ADHD. I can get kids off of their medication. It's great for kids who have test anxiety or exam anxiety. It focuses them and it releases that nervous tension, and they can focus and they retain the information better, and they process the information better. They retain the information better. Cognitive clarity is really good. So that's why some people like to do TRE at the end of the week to let go of the week. And other people like to do it on like Sunday to get ready for the week coming up because they know it makes them more productive. Yeah. So some people want that, honed in clarity. Aches and pains definitely go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have people who come in with canes and forget afterward and leave, and I have to chase them down and hand them their cane back because they forget that they were actually in pain at some point.
Yeah. 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 I was feeling very like, I knew that there was some kind of release happening, but I was feeling a very sad energy yesterday too, not just angry, but a very sad energy that I've been trying to release for a while. And I feel more clear-headed today. I feel more clarity today, and I feel less connection to the heaviness of that energy. And I feel, usually I would cry in order to release it. And I have been for a while now working through that process, and the sadness will come up and I'll cry and release. And but this one felt like another level of that. This was the physical release of that sad energy too. So I'm hitting it at a different level, whatever that stored energy is that's there. I've released through, that physical experience of crying too. This one was, all of that stuff that's stored there that keeps activating that sadness that,
well, it's constantly creating shift. You're constantly shifting. You're constantly shape shifting when you do this practice. Because like I said, once you let it go, it's gone. Then the body finds the next one to tap into, and it starts working on that. So you go through them.
Yeah. I feel so much more clear today, and I feel a lot more balanced today when it comes to that. So it definitely,
emotional clarity is the other one. People get really emotionally clear after a session usually. And these, I want to call them symptoms. That's not what they are. What did you call them? expectation. No. What happens after a shake? What did you call it? Benefits. Thank you. So some of the benefits. I lost it because I had to talk myself in that circle. What was I saying? I totally talked myself in a circle there.
You were talking about the physical,
the emotional clarity.
Emotional clarity.
The emotional clarity. Oh, yeah. I don't remember. Okay.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the most important part of it.
Yeah, you did. But it allows you. It creates that space for you to like figure it all out, sort it all out. You don't have to stew in it. You get to be in it in a different way.
Yeah. And I really
with a different awareness.
It helps to create momentum in your life too, because you're removing blockages that stop you from being in a space of allowing, in a space of receiving, in a space of movement. And, the fear isn't quite holding you back as much. So you're able to lean in and surrender more on a regular basis and create momentum in your life too. So there is that kind of vibrational response in your reality that's going to happen from, it's not just physical things and emotional things that come from here. It's your reality and the vibration that's being created around you, and things that are able to flow your way. You energetically have released blockages from your space. And so to make room for more positive things to come in. So it's clearing the way for your momentum.
Right. On the physical scale, it goes, your recovery time is like this. And with Thierry, the recovery time becomes more like this. And on the emotional scale, it's recovery time. Oh, what is it with me? All of a sudden, I lost that thought now too. What was I trying to say? This is aggravating. I need clear Thierry. I need to get clear. Emotionally, what's happening, because we're working on the nervous system and the connective tissues, the fascia, we're lubricating the fascia and keeping it flexible and fluid.
Yeah.
What's happening is we're creating new neurological pathways. And so your emotional response goes from this to this, because those pathways open and they have somewhere to go. They have a different, they have a path. Yeah. Where before they might have just been kind of like compressed or compacted or stuck or trapped, but Thierry literally creates new neurological pathways. And so those emotions, they're able to figure out how to release.
Yeah. One other thing that I wanted to say too, that the energy of that relaxation that you feel afterwards, when you have a physical release in that way, it's kind of like a physical release in other ways too. Like the bringing.
I have definitely had students have an orgasm. I mean, I know that's what you're trying to get at subtly, but yeah, I have had people orgasm in class.
And that you feel afterwards is this physical release, that this pent up, this built up, powerful energy that's there has released from your body. And like you were describing before, sometimes it just completely relaxes you, man. Sometimes it completely energizes you. A woman, she just wants to keep talking and talking and talking. It's different for everybody, but that's kind of like the image that I was getting too. And it makes so much sense, because it's the same kind of release for your body. It's the relaxation that you feel afterwards is just like, it's like you're stupid. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So there's that. If we haven't convinced people before now, that may have done it.
Right.
So, okay. Well, I think that about covers it. And thank you so much for being here. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, make sure that you get in touch with us. And yeah.
Awesome. I can't think of anything else. So
me neither. That's the end of it. It's just like stasis.
Yes.
We've just gotten it all out. We've released all of that information that everybody needs to know, however many people it is, whatever point in this video they come in. And I just can't wait. I can't wait for more people to experience this.
Thank you. And if it's successful, we'll do more.
Okay. See you Friday at 6.
All righty.
Okay.
Thank you.